Mic check. CTM, what's going on, everyone? I hope you are well and doing great and ready to start this week off. It's Monday. I hope you all had a really good weekend. Rested. Well, I know that over the weekend we were like hoping that we just go live. We just go live. I miss our weekday sessions, but you know what? It's the time to rejuvenate, get us going over here. We got a strong Monday session to cover. Let's get into it. We're going to start off with talking about Bitcoin, a little Bitcoin analysis, and talking about the breakouts that are occurring over on the Bitcoin. We're going to come back to this chart in one moment, but let's start over here with a chart you might have saw posted out on the Twitter over the weekend, and I call this Underbelly breakouts. Now, I'm going to go ahead and before I even get started, I'm going to go ahead and just invert this chart so that you could get a different view of it. It'll be easier for you to see. And I want you to focus on this trend line. It's starting right over here. It's resistance, resistance, resistance. It's flipped right here. And then it becomes support, right? Support again, and here's where the breakdown occurs. It's a breakout, but it's a breakdown here. And that's why you could see how that trend line is drawn in. I know because it's an underbelly trend line, or the way I call it an underbelly, it's a little bit more difficult for people to get used to, only because it's very, well, unique. And then you could look over at the past cycle and you could see that it was once that there's the underbelly taking place. Once it was broken, that did call the bottom, and that was the beginning of the bull market. And then if you go back even the cycle further, this one's a little tricky. It's very clear where the underbelly line is coming from all these touches, and then that becomes resistance. And then you could see that it's broken over here. And not only is it broken, it is confirmed into support. And price tries to resume off. Now, it never makes the resumption. It never makes the higher local high. But more importantly, it breaks down below. So we don't know whether or not this line is going to hold or not. There are a lot of people who are insistent that actually we're going to be looking at something like this. That, yeah, we have a breakout now, but it's doomed to fail. And then once it fails, by the way, because I'm going to then load up on Bitcoin, it's just going to take off and moon. And that could happen also, but I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't have a time machine. I don't have a crystal ball. I can only see what's happening right now before me, and we have a breakout. Now, if we fall back below this line, here you can see you fell back below the line, well, then you know that this failed. And it's an amazing place to cut your risk. It's actually risk-free, right? And then you can see on the breakdown, a retest, and it resumed down. And then guess what? The line is still incredibly relevant because you can see once you break out again and then confirm it into support and take off, the underbelly trend line thus far has called all previous bear market lows. By the way, even on this failure, it didn't break down and take out the low. It didn't take out the low. It did indeed on the first break. We manage our risk here. So we would make sure it's a breakout. That's a failure. Retest, resumption below. That's the time to make sure that you get out and on the sidelines. Now, if that happens again, okay, we're ready. And then we'll say, you know what? Not bottoming yet. Everyone, let's take a look. We could be actually making lower lows. Now, this little schematic gives the idea. Although, if we're going to see pressure come on the markets, I imagine that it's going to be sometime after the summer. September, October are notorious for market crashes. And the reason I say that only is because right now, as of last week, we talked about the US Treasury is undergoing extraordinary measures. $400 billion of cash reserves being drained between now and the summer. That completely offsets all quantitative easing taking place. Once the debt limit ceiling is once again raised to keep the Ponzi going, at that point in time, sometime projected to be around the summer when the Fed Treasury's balance runs out, at that time, not only does quantitative tightening all of a sudden take front and center stage, but then you would have the Treasury refilling that cash balance, would mean the Treasury is sucking liquidity out of the markets. Right now, they're giving liquidity. As of last week, they started giving liquidity. Bitcoin responds really well to liquidity. Boom, right? Now that could change. We don't know we don't know what happens in the future. We could only make sure that we stay on the right side of the market. I got a meeting with Headsnack right after this session. And Headsnack, by the way, right? The theme song, Conquer Trading and Investing, much and great love. He has been dollar cost averaging Bitcoin all of 2022. And finally, he is now showing a positive balance in his account. He's really happy about that, but he wants to move forward and he wants to move towards the new long-term strategies we're doing. He understands that dollar cost averaging during the bear market was not the smartest thing to do. Why? Because the whole time he's losing purchasing power. He gets that now. He sees there's a better way. We'll be talking about that. Chio, great wave to all of you. To all of you in here. Great to see everyone in here. Great to see. And I don't want to confuse anyone. We'll get into CTM position in a little bit, but let's talk about what's going on in Bitcoin. This is my friend Titan of Crypto, right? You could go ahead and give a follow for sure. I like this chart. Let's take a look at this chart. And it's neat. And because we're talking about underbellies. And it's an underbelly in so much as that we're watching this lines over here, right? I'm focusing on the lower lines of support. And then you could see in the following bull market how they provided resistance or the top, right? Top. Except this last one. Except this last one didn't end at the top. You could see over here, this is the November high, and it's different than this last one. This is, by the way, now that we've had the breakout, assuming this holds, right? Then potentially something like this may play out. By the way, this line gives me a nice reminder. I said I want to get back to you. Now, because we have the underbelly breakout in effect, and as long as it holds, we can kind of take a look at our technology adoption life cycle and go ahead and add in a new developing channel. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in, and you can see I'm taking the low over here. This is the March low, 2020, and now where we're just bottoming out, potentially bottoming out. People get really like People are now insistent that we're going to be making lower lows. I don't have any idea. I hope that you don't have any idea. And I hope that you just continue to trade what's happening. But here, that's exactly what we're doing. Cameron, great to see you. Great to see you. All right, so I'm adding this parallel channel, and I'm starting off of this as my primary line. And I just want to go ahead and check that and how the market's paying attention to that. So I'm coming down over here, and I'm like, all right, let's take a look and let's see if this makes any sense or not, because I don't know. So I'm looking, and well, that one's pretty clear. I could see over here remember the last summer 2021 low, and then over here you remember this whole riding up $35,000. If you did not de-risk at 53,000, 35,000, it's not too late. Some people heard that warning, others chose not to. Jordan, you expected 150,000, 250,000 Bitcoin or whatever you expected. That's right, but I trade what's happening. Now I'm coming back over and I'm saying, okay, well, this market's paying attention to it up here. You could see that, all those touches. So, all right. I mean, is there something there? Yeah, it seems legit, right? It seems legit. Over here, you could see support, resistance, right? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to leave that up over here right now. And it looks to me that potentially we now have a new channel forming. So I'll clean that up a little bit later offline. I just always want you to know how we get to where we are. So what's interesting about this is what happened over here. A lot of people, they say that this was the high and this was manipulation. Now, I don't believe that at all. And I don't believe that because it's right here where the Fed pivoted. We always talked about the greatest risk to the bull market was always going to be Fed policy. It wasn't every other obstacle people talked about. It was going to be Fed policy. Fed pivots policy over here. There was also things that suppressed this price, I imagine, like that naked selling of Bitcoin. We know FTX was doing it, and I'm sure a lot of other exchanges, right? But if this was indeed the high and this was manipulation, then I'm not sure that we would have got another touch of it over here in April. It doesn't really line up to me. I'm going with my belief is here is one monetary base total began the reserves of the central banks began actually being diminished. That's when markets topped. I'm going with this is actually the real top, and you could see the structure taking place. We now have a breakout. We now have that beautiful log scale breakout that is underway. We're seeing it across equity markets. We'll get that into a little bit. I think it's important to be watching what could potentially happen going forward, specifically if we get any touches. Here's the trend line, right? It's a little bit different than my underbelly line because my underbelly line is going off the lows over there, the one that we just looked at. But we'll be watching these trend lines going forward. If at any point in time price comes up to them, we will know that that is potential resistance. And then my new friend, Stock Money Lizards, we were able to do a spaces together last week, is pointing out we have textbook Wyckoff accumulation happening. I know that in 2021, after the fact, we had a litany of Wyckoff distribution experts out there. I am surprised not too many people are talking about now the accumulation that's taking place. If you take a look at it, it is actually, let me zoom out so you could see it. It is absolute textbook. Do you think that we might or potentially might take out the August highs? August high is 25,000 on Bitcoin. I just wanted to let you know something. I am targeting on the equity markets as a run towards the August high. Not on Bitcoin, I think that we have the potential to not only take it out, but to surpass it. As equity markets, if they're able to come into and or take out that August high, that's what I'm going to be using as my barometer here for this accumulation schematic over here. And that's going to look like this. You can see taking out that high and then a retest, right? Accumulation, and then boom, off to phase D. Something to keep a watch out for. Dave, CTM strong. Thanks for hitting the like button over here. I appreciate that very much as we get going over here this morning. Let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin breakouts that are taking place across. We look at the cross Ethereum, Bitcoin. By the way, I mean, look, this is from 2020 until present. And we could see if I pull up a little bit, like, I mean, good performance. At least you know when to be on what side following a little CTM 2.0. It doesn't compare to what we do against the US dollar. I don't know how having a profitable strategy, Ethereum, Bitcoin, would serve a purpose for someone unless they were just going like in cold storage directly between Ethereum and Bitcoin. That would definitely work. It just happens to be much more profitable not in my opinion. The data is what it is. It's much more profitable, significantly more profitable to trade versus the US dollar in both cases. Nevertheless, you have what is a pivotal breakdown over here. If I zoom out a little bit, you could see the what was, right? This ascending triangle. Often these break out to the upside. It's often a breakout over here to the upside, as you're seeing over here, right? Less and less sellers coming into the market. And then right over here, it's leveling out, and then a breakout sends it up. It's not what happened. Trade what's happening. Breakdown, retest, looking to resume off right now. The strength of Bitcoin picking up. Now, if at any time this fails means getting back above that trend line, it becomes neutral again. If it breaks above this line, that's a massive buy signal only because you had a fakie to the bottom, a liquidity grab. But right now, follow what's happening. It's very clear. Breakdown, retest, resuming down, massive cross. Is it real? I had no idea. I don't tag my charts. Like, I just put out what I could put out when I could put it out. But Cameron, that's interesting. I had no idea. Thank you for letting me know. And then we're looking at Bitcoin and gold, another very important cross. And you could see very clearly this is coming from April 2022, and gold was just on a tear, as it should be during Bitcoin's bear market. Gold was on a tear versus Bitcoin. But now, regardless of what you think is happening, we've had a breakdown, a retest, and a resumption down, and Bitcoin showing relative strength across markets here. And look, does it make sense to be bullish on Bitcoin? If you're not, whether you think this rally's fake or whatever have you, we're 50% off the lows, and it is what it is. The charts do not lie. Follow the charts, trade the charts, and if it rolls over, get back on the right side. Right now, the right side is obviously clearly this way. Here's another chart shared this morning when we were talking about those two major breakdowns against Ethereum and gold occurring on Bitcoin, which of course is bullish for Bitcoin. And we're seeing also Apple versus Bitcoin. And you're seeing Bitcoin coming out of this nice ascending wedge. That's a bearish continuation pattern. And that has some potential room to roll over, testing the bottom support area of this. Very, very, very interesting over here. You know where you're wrong. The amazing thing about this is you know where you're wrong. Beautiful stuff. Thanks for sharing that with me. I'm not going to get into this right now. There was some sharing of Binance says signature sets transaction minimum, 100,000 US dollars. I know then Alish was able to go ahead and add a lot more clarification to that. I'm going to spend my time with it before getting into it and talking about it with the rest of the community. Gio, thank you for the love, everyone. I appreciate that. Really smashing that like button. Let's get into a little bit of CTM positioning. If you enjoyed the Bitcoin breakout section of today's analysis, please go ahead and hit that like button, share, and spread the love. We're looking at the beautiful dance taking place. This is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. Cardano, all on the 8-hour. Cardano is actually enormous in so much that this is the first buy entry that has occurred on Cardano. Look at all of 2022, right? Since over here, you have to go back to August. Right over here was a buy entry and like an exit over here. And then it was out of the market, and then it started selling, and all of 2000. This is, I think, significant as we look at Bitcoin making those breakouts, against Ethereum, Bitcoin making a breakout versus Apple, Bitcoin making a breakout versus gold. We're also seeing altcoins here make a significant shift in sentiment. It has been 16 months since a buy entry has taken place. And now we are entering into it. Boom. Jordan, just going back to the mother of all templates, since it's FTX and go to trade manually, I want to trade daily. We're going to get into daily in 1 second. First, let me cover the 8-hour, and then I'm going to get into the daily because the daily is obviously significant. Cardano joining the buy side, significant, first time in 16 months. Ethereum continues. Look at this beautiful, what does this look like to you in traditional TA? This looks like a beautiful bear flag that's forming, right? You have continuation pattern up. Then you have what looks right now to me, what looks like a nice bull flag developing. We'll see if it breaks up or down. I don't know. But since January 4th here, Ethereum holding on to some beautiful gains. And Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin, the beautiful dance was this. Bitcoin also taking a nice 24% profit and then exiting over here. This was, by the way, a lot of people wanted to exit over here. 8% gain. Market's been going sideways for quite a while. To see an 8% gain, people like, I want to take that profit. CPI is coming into the market. I got to take the, and then no, boom, next leg up. And then CTM 2.0 taking profit. Getting on the sidelines, the pullback was in effect. People wondering why Ethereum didn't take profit. They're different, right? And then the beauty was, as price rolled back up, $120 like to the upside, Bitcoin getting back in and now holding another position, 8% into profit, and it continues. The 8-hour is extraordinarily profitable. The 8-hour is extraordinarily profitable. This is looking at since 2022, right? And by the way, this is holding an open position that's about to compound. Since 2022, it was a tough year, some people believe. Now add 30%, or I don't know where it'll take profit. I assume lower. It's going to take, we never get out at the peak. And then compound it to that, and all of a sudden you're seeing explosive gains. 2022, I don't know where this is starting. So we'll leave that off, but we'll come back. That was 190% in 2022. But this is seeing the beautiful account balances over here continuing to make new all-time highs. And this is the beautiful dance. The reason you look at all three is because at different times, they make new all-time highs. Here's Cardano in October making a new all-time high, while Bitcoin and Ethereum running sideways. At the end of the year, Cardano running to new all-time highs. You could see Ethereum running sideways, Bitcoin too. And now Bitcoin and Ethereum are making new all-time highs, why Cardano's not. Here you have Ethereum making the new all-time highs, why Bitcoin and Cardano are not. The daily time frame. We got CTN. We're here to build each other up, take everyone with us, right? Positive support and environment for sure. Thank you, Jen, for bringing and adding and spreading that love. Really, really grateful for it. Bitcoin on the daily time frame, the 8-hour time frame. By the way, everything could be automated. It's 2023. There's massive risk in automation. Third-party services last year, 3 commas, APIs getting hacked, people losing funds. You got to be careful. Capital preservation is the number one most important factor in all of this. You don't need to take risks. If you can't commit to trading on the 8-hour time frame, which has 3 potential times a day. Let me go ahead and put these in over here. Let me go to style, and let me go ahead and add in the trades and charts, because a lot of people are visual people, and it's easier to see when you're seeing the signals on the charts, right? If you can't commit to potential 3 times a day when you could have an entry or an exit, stop loss could be hit 24 hours a day, any time of day, but you don't have to be there. You already put it in a time of entry. If you can't, the gains are excessive. But if you can't, whatever it takes to meet the goals you want to do, Yeah, I'll set an alarm at 1 a.m. if I'm close to an entry. I'll have the alert come trigger and let me know to get up and do what I got to do. But listen, the daily time frame is enormous. There's only one time a day that you potentially need to go ahead and place a buy or a sell order. Let me go ahead and just put, again, the trades on the chart and go ahead and just put this in because it's easier to follow. Bitcoin over here, taking its entry at the beginning of January. It is now 20% into profit, 22% into profit. Great way to start 2022. Ethereum as well, holding an open position, also 30% into profit. Roughly 6 trades a year. It's a strong, strong solution. Cardano is going to be added to the daily. Right, when we started off 2023, first session was discussing it, and then we saw the hive mind go ballistic. You could see Cardano adding on the daily time frame now what that would look like, and you could see that 6 highly valued templates on the daily. We've chosen template candidate 206. It's going to be added over here, invite only scripts shared with the team. And then you could go ahead and we'll be talking about all 3. I hope to get that out today. I hope to get that out this week. A lot of code needs to be reviewed. You gotta, a lot. We will get it done. We're making strides. Now, let's talk about stocks a little bit. Because of CTM doing a massive amount of building in 2022. Right? It was March 14, 2022. CTM 2.0 was launched. Massive work sessions. And now with Cardano on the daily time frame, everything is like bow tied up, right? And it opens up a lot of time and energy and talent to move towards things like stocks, right? This is the work that was introduced. By the way, this also will be out to CTM as an invite script this week as well, right? This is looking at the triple Q, the QQQ, right? Are you watching the breakout that's occurring on the NASDAQ right now? Is everyone aware that we're seeing the NASDAQ break out the trend line, the 2022 trend line? Is Bitcoin, or we were just looking at? We were looking at Ethereum breaking down from this pattern. If you inverse it, if I invert it, inverse scale, like Ethereum, Bitcoin breaking down this way. It's the same exact concept, except now we're seeing the NASDAQ break out to the upside. It's a major repair that's taking place. Central bank policy, Federal Reserve policy has been turning. They went from 475 basis point hikes to a 50 basis point hike, and now it's expected a 25 basis point hike next week. They are working towards and moving towards a pause. Last time they paused the interest rates, even though quantitative tightening was running, you saw a massive risk on move. This time, as they get to a pause, quantitative tightening is being negated by US Treasury actions. Let's see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. A close above here is a major signal. I'm able to take advantage of this, and I am taking advantage of this through what we're looking at over here on this is 3 times leverage on the QQQ, the NASDAQ tracker. Look at these returns on these, are almost crypto returns. This opens up so much opportunity to do things like trade potentially in a Roth IRA. I've already executed a trade in a Roth IRA. I took this entry over here. This occurred on Friday, and 10% gain. We're off and running. This is beautiful over here. This is buy side only, right? This is buy and sell side. And now some people, for example, in a Roth IRA, I can't sell short because there's no margin allowed. You could execute off of the SQQQ on the short side. You compound this return with this return, and you get this return. It's insane. So that's what we're headed. I took a look on Friday at the microsectors FANG. It's FNQE. It's another triple leveraged ETF. I took a look at it. I couldn't do it. right? I mean, the gains are this is from 2020 till today. The gains are absolutely massive, but the drawdown is too high. The drawdown isn't, I can't, this is completely acceptable. These type of returns with that type of drawdown, right? Buy side only, however you're executing. But this is too much for me. Even if you cut it in half, right? The drawdown then 20%, the return it doesn't outperform. So maybe the hive mind, I'll pass this off to the hive mind, and maybe the team could come up with something better. It's an enormous head start. I'm going to say that it's not possible. I'm going to say that it's not possible for me, but I know that the hive mind is extraordinarily talented. We'll see that because to have one solution inside the stock markets that is this alpha is awesome. To have two solutions, we'll be moving forward. And then I'm going to be working towards, right, working on high volume. I'm not interested in BITO and should it be in here as well. GBTC, I won't touch anymore. But I'm going to be working at solutions on high volume stocks. And then we'll be focusing a lot of that in 2023 because right now it is for us just about execution. And execution is everything. And if you're, whether you're executing on the 8 hour, whether you're executing on the daily, some people are like, you mean it's just as easy as when the indicator tells me to buy, I buy, to sell, I sell, to exit, I exit, as long as my stop loss is in? Well, there's nothing easy about that. The time and work you've been at this 25 years. Hive mind, that massive brain power. By the way, it's not just hive mind. It's right. Hive mind using machine learning tools. Yeah, there's nothing easy about it, but where it is right now, it becomes all about execution and discipline. And a lot of people, just talking about this over here, a lot of people wanted to exit down over here, discretionary, cutting profits short. And then after this occurred, same thing, wanting to exit again. Take the discretion out of it, keep going, stay strong. Market review. Who wants to take a look on this exciting day at the market? And so the point of the stock market is that massive brain power, massive effort now can be spent within CTM on looking at solutions, including on options. Already people are there just taking CTM 2.0 strategies, executing also on options, and it opens up a whole new door. And where CTM is going, we just keep looking up and climb and getting to the summit. And then we realize, oh, wait, look at that mountain range in the distance now. We got some more summiting to do. And we take all of that compounding knowledge, tools, effort, and we just keep going. It is beautiful. It's really special to be a part of. Market review. Let's take a look today at what's going on. Rico, look at all of I love being here with all of you, right? Sandra, no, listen, the 8 hours significantly more profitable. It's more profitable. The daily is extraordinarily profitable. I recommend, probably for the majority of people, stay on the daily. If you are, we talked about, we have surgeons in CTM and they're really busy. The 8 hour, outside of being fully automated, which is dangerous and high risk right now, in the future, it'll be super easy. It's not right now. It's easy to do, but there's risk involved. We're trying to migrate risk everywhere. So trade on the daily. Mom, raising kids, super busy. 8 hour, little much. Sleep, precious. Daily time frame, super easy. I love the daily, and I use the daily time frame, as a fiat strategy. You remember my videos where I talk about if you start with a $3,000 account and you add $250 monthly or another $3,000 a year, and you did that for 11 years at a 70% return, you're looking at a $3 million account, and a $3 million is extremely comfortable. Now, how do you get the 70% return? Well, the daily strategies. Look, here's Ethereum on the daily time frame. This is going back to 2020. You do the math. Are you hitting that 70% return? Here's Bitcoin on the daily time frame going back to 2020. Look at the drawdown, right? Are you hitting it, right? So that's how do you do it? I use this as a fiat strategy. It's another revenue, like it's another nest egg strategy, right? And by the way, that's like, anyway, Sandra, I love the daily. I use the daily. I also use the 8 hour though. I use them as different strategies for different things. All right, let's move over. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening right now as we look at NASDAQ with this massive technical repair in place. And a lot of people, the charts don't lie, right? This potentially, I showed you the Wyckoff accumulation schematic, and you could see that it was targeting that August high on Bitcoin. And I told you that I would be looking at equities, right? And because the thing is that Bitcoin, if we didn't see the collapse of, this is on log, let me put on log. You can see the breakout that occurred over here. CTM all day long, breakout retest, resuming up right now. And if you look at where that August high is, it's at $25,000. Now, the thing is, in my opinion, is that, this was FTX and the collapse. And if that didn't happen, I think that Bitcoin would already be trading above 25,000. So I'm using right now the NASDAQ, S&P 500, their August high, this area, not whether or not it takes out the high, comes into the high. This is what I'm targeting. And it's not guaranteed to happen. If we trade back below this trend line and close below it, well, we're neutral again. If we break below this line of support, well, then technically we're weak. And here's the trigger. A break below this area. Hey, who knows what Powell's going to do? Who knows what happens next week? I stop trying to have like any type of predetermined knowing of what is going to happen and simply stay on the right side and trade what's happening. You could see, by the way, on the S&P 500, I have a one-touch trend line off of that high over here. Let me see if I could get even. Oh, I went to log. That's why. I think we got to clear that, right? This is a close above this highlighted trend line. First time in a year. It's a big deal. It's a major repair taking place, but that's a line of cautious. Maybe we break above it. Maybe we pull back. We'll watch what's happening. NASDAQ over here, very beautiful. I'm watching if we come into on the equity markets towards that August high, and I'm going to use that as a little bit of a lean in as for what's going on in Bitcoin and potentially where I will be getting a little bit cautious on Bitcoin, not like putting in a top. I have no idea when the top occurs. I don't even need to know when the top occurs. All I need to do is continue. How many people expected January 4th for Bitcoin to put up a 24% return and then another 9%? How many people? I don't have to know. I don't have to guess. We have the tools to stay on the right side. That's continuing what I'm going to do. But I have a passion for the markets, and I like continuing to develop my overall skill set. So that's what I'll be doing. Equity markets come into there. I'm going to say, Bitcoin, wherever it would be, I imagine it's above 25,000, taking above the August high. Maybe this is the area it's targeting around 30,000. And then I'm going to say, look, we just took out the phase B top over here. Watch out. We might have a pullback. We might consolidate. All right. So what else? Let's keep going. Let's take a look at the dollar. Dollar continues to remain technically under massive pressure, and there's not much else to say about it. A break above this trend line would signal to me that the dollar is having the opportunity to actually put in a repair, but it's got resistance here now. This broken support, right, has become resistance, and it's got that trend line resistance. So it's just got a lot of work to do before it could do anything. Oil had a major breakout. We covered it over here. Breakout, retest. Another retest of that broken trend line, the green one. It is now resuming off, potentially targeting up over here. This becomes dangerous in 2023. Right now, what could Powell do? Powell could only look around and say, you could talk tough, but watch what they do. right? Well, they've already started lesser degrees of rate hikes. Markets beginning into price it in even a pause. Could this be the last rate hike? I mean, it depends on what the data says. Job markets continue to hold in. We're seeing lots of layoffs coming out of big tech. We're still seeing lots of job vacancies in a lot of other sectors, including the energy sector. Well, what about CPI? Well, it's coming in soft. I think next month is going to be soft also. We're seeing lower, but here's, if this starts rising, that could put forward pressure, end of second quarter into the second quarter on the CPI. If you start seeing oil rising, and then because risk is rallying, dollars coming off, that becomes complicated. You cannot have any preconceived ideas of what you think is going to be happening 6 months from now, 3 months. This is unprecedented times. Continue working hard, stay on the right side, and we'll continue monitoring the markets and doing our best to stay on the right side. That's all I could say. People say, well, watch out the 10-year. Stocks can't be rallying with the 10 years. I mean, this is a massive breakdown that's continued, right? This looks underneath this highlighted sea green, light green line over here. It looks massively weak. This is a breakdown. We're coming in for a retest. Bond market is not buying what the Fed is selling at all. We got to clear back above this area where I'm highlighting right now, which would be back above that broken trend line, back above this horizontal area. And there's a little wiggle room here before we're looking at any type of resurgence of yields. That's just what it is. The charts don't lie. So there we are. There we are, everyone. Thanks for being here today, fam. I think I missed one important question. So scrolling back over here. Jasm. Look, manual is the way to go. It's easy to do manually, right? If you touch the stop loss, you take the stop loss. When you place an entry, at the time of entry, you're also setting your stop loss. If your stop loss is 3%, it's 3% from the entry price. You don't have to worry about it. It's already, the order's already in, right? So it's going to be triggered, right? The only thing you have to worry about is if you're in a position and then without hitting the stop loss, which happens often, you get an exit signal. That could only occur if you're trading at the daily time frame once a day. If you're trading on the 8-hour during one of the 3 signal periods. I didn't get a chance to talk about gold and silver. Let me go ahead and do that. All right. We were talking about market review and we didn't talk about gold here, right? Although Bitcoin is crushing it, gold continues to look strong, right? I'm looking at this area, this pocket of resistance that kind of we're running into right now. No big deal. It looks good and healthy after breaking back above. We were actually here in real time, CTM, talking about the breakout of the descending trend line. Let me go ahead and flip this over to green. We're above it. So as far as breakdown, like this trend line, as long as we're above it, this trend is soundly intact. Now, if I clone this line, do you think that it's also showing up here? And then let's go ahead and just take a look. It's just, for now, I'm leaving this one in. As long as we're above this trend line, above this area of support, structurally, it continues to look very good. Silver's having trouble, right? Ever since we talked about take profit, resistance, don't look to sell. Good call, and don't look to sell that. Look, some people might call this a downtrend. We were more focused on the reversal taking place, like take profit, don't sell, and it's having trouble getting above 24. So what do? Well, nothing. There's not attractive at all right now. Above 24, by the way, and then confirming that becomes potentially attractive again. I think gold is continues to be more attractive. We looked at gold and silver, right? And here you could see the breakout that occurred. And since then, gold has been outperforming. So again, rather than having some type of belief of what you think is going to happen, put everything together. Let the pieces fall in place. The markets work in harmony with each other. By having an overview of all markets, you're able to focus a lot more on whatever instrument you trade. Everyone, God bless you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you so much for creating this beautiful environment, staying CTM strong. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon. Oh, you know what happened that whole session? Because you guys missed my drawing that was taking place the whole time. I apologize. Tomorrow will be a lot smoother, but I apologize for that. Like to have everything done well and correctly, but we got it. It's just making those improvements. 1% improvement a week, 1% improvement a day. Just making those incremental improvements leads to compounded growth. Everything is about growth. All right, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. Take care.